All right, well, welcome to the Titan Talks webinar to listen to and learn from the seventh speaker in this quarterly Titan Talks Innovation Series. I'm John Corton. I'm the director of the Petrick Idea Center at Illinois Wesleyan University. And for those of you who haven't yet heard of our plans for the Petrick Idea Center, we're going to be building a state-of-the-art 43,000 square feet living, learning, and creating community on the southwest corner of the quad between Buck Memorial Library and the Memorial Center. This building is going to feature flexible common areas, fully equipped maker and creator spaces, and residential capacity for 78 of the university's most innovative and entrepreneurially minded students. Here, all students at Illinois Wesleyan across every major and discipline will practice collaborative, cross-discipline creativity with a conscience as they live, learn, and create 24/7 while developing their skills and superpowers, building the products, services, and initiatives that will result in virtuous solutions to vital problems. The Petrick Idea Center will offer students, alumni, and the community lifelong learning and engagement opportunities. In this quarterly innovation series, which we first introduced in January of 2022, is a perfect example of what's to come. This series features alumni like our speaker today and university supporters who are creating, changing, and disrupting the products, the services, the systems, and the policies that will exist in the mid-21st century world. Assisting us with moderating the Q&A for today's webinar is a current IWU student, Annika Altcruz. Annika is a senior marketing and psychology double major, and she'll be graduating in December of this year. She spent this past summer creating the social media strategy and guidelines for IWU's inaugural School of Business and Economics, and hopes to continue into the marketing space after she graduates. And on campus, she's on the women's volleyball team and is the president of the IWU chapter of the Hidden Opponent, which is a nationally recognized mental health advocacy group. A few housekeeping items before we get started. You are viewing this webinar as an audience member, and therefore you will not have the ability to turn on your video or your microphone. Questions can be submitted at any time through the Q&A feature. Annika will watch for the questions and share them with Stacey to answer during and at the end of the presentation. If you have a technical issue, you may reach out to the Office of Alumni Engagement at 309-556-3145 or by email to iwualum@iwu.edu. A recording of today's webinar will be available to view on the Office of Alumni Engagement YouTube page, and you'll be sent a link to the recording and a short survey in the days ahead. Illinois Wesleyan is very honored to have 1992 IWU alumna Stacey McClenathan as this quarter's speaker of our innovation series. Stacey has over 30 years of work experience in the marketing and communications fields. She began her career in 1992 as the National Marketing Manager of Indirect Channel Distribution for United States Cellular Corporation, where she was responsible for the national marketing development of the indirect distribution channel and national account development. In 1996, Stacey moved on to become the Director of Global Marketing Communications at Motorola. In 2005, she founded Beeline Communications, Inc., a boutique strategic marketing communications agency. Beeline has won numerous design and industry awards. The company has also been recognized as an Inc. 500 fastest growing company and was featured on the AMC Network's reality show, The Pitch, in 2013. Stacey began her college education at Illinois Wesleyan University, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree. She then attended Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management for a management program and earned a Master of Science in Marketing Communications from Roosevelt University. Welcome, Stacey. Glad you're with us today.
Well, thank you for having us. And, John, I'm always impressed in the programs that the school's putting on for alumni and for students and just educating them about what's happening in the marketplace. And Annika, thank you for moderating today. So I'm very pleased to be here today and talk to you all about data-driven marketing and the power of data science. A little bit about the background and, something for all ages, whether you're a student in school learning about marketing or entrepreneurship, or you own a business, or you're, in the workforce and curious about what's happening in this very fast-paced time that we're in. I hope that you get something out of it. Also, right before we started the call, Annika is empowered to interrupt and ask questions throughout the presentation. So if you've got a question, please shoot it through the channels that they had shared, and hopefully we'll have a nice discussion here. So a little bit, oh, there we go. There's always something. There we go. Oh, there we go. So about me, as John said, my name is Stacey McClenathan. I graduated from Illinois Wesleyan in 1992. I was a music major. I was not a part of the business school, although I was part of marketing the programs within the School of Music. So marketing has always been a passion of mine. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, and the idea of business and how you grow business was always something that interested me. As John shared, I started Beeline in 2005, and actually starting the company was a complete accident. I was on bed rest with my third child, running at that time the strategy process for Motorola, and I was very frustrated with the marketing companies that Motorola was working with. I felt like their creative strategies did not tie to business results, and I had a lot of frustration around that. So as I was on bed rest, I started articulating the agencies that we wanted to look into and hire. And while I was doing that, I inadvertently started Beeline as word got out that I was looking to do that kind of consulting. Marketing in 1992 is very different. And for those of you that are in school or in your 20s, I think it's a good level set to tell you what the environment was like when I graduated Illinois Wesleyan. Mobile phones were trending, but they were largely seen as a business tool, or if you were an early adopter. I remember getting my first bag phone through my fiance at the time in 1992, and it was a novelty. Yes, we had the internet, but it was mainly for academics. It was not the World Wide Web as you know it today. And we certainly did not have social media as we have it today. When it came to marketing strategy, it usually relied on recycled ideas, celebrity endorsements, or tie-ins like, oh, our product is featured as part of this television show. Expanded cable television was cheap advertising because the thought was that nobody was watching other cable channels. HGTV was not HGTV at the time. It was just a very different landscape on television as well. And television was expensive because you were dealing with large networks. Radio advertising was a big feature of many marketing budgets. There weren't podcasts then. And print media and direct mail were still very popular ways of advertising. And marketing measurement was all about how many impressions a certain publication or target had, and you were measuring by sell-through. You did not have the dynamic real-time reporting that we have access to now. Today's marketing environment, everyone is and has mobile. You're walking around and people have everything in their pockets, which is exciting, but also daunting. Everyone is connected. They're connected online, socially, in affinity groups. Everyone talks to everyone. Television media transformed by streaming. The Hulus of the world have expanded everything. Television is now appointment television. You're not just looking to run a commercial, when Friends is on. Everyone is a content creator. And when everyone is a content creator, managing your brand in that environment gets very tricky. Publicity has a very prominent place in everyone's marketing budget. Access to data and consumer preferences are available real time. You don't have to guess what people are thinking about and doing because there's data there. And marketing campaigns can be adjusted in real time. You don't have to run something for a long time to pivot and say, wow, that wasn't working, or it is working. Things that are working, you can double down on the marketing budget and get a pop much quicker. And the placement of marketing options are infinite. And it's really a new thing. So data and algorithms. So if you are a marketer and you are looking to reach out to unicorn riding, gluten-free knitting enthusiasts with a penchant for vintage mugs, you can find this person. And it's because of data. And with data, though, today's consumers have high expectations, even if we annoy them. Humans are busy. Humans are inundated with information, and we have seconds to get their attention. We're in a scroll through culture where you have just a quick second to make a first impression and hold their attention long enough to get a message through. So gone are the days when marketing decisions were based on gut feelings and whimsical brainstorms. In this age of information overload, we're turning to data as our compass and data science as our guide. And I think it's worth a discussion of really, what is data science? It's a word that's kind of come together. There are majors for it, but I look at data science as the intersection between statistics, computing power, insights, tools, statistics, behavioral science. It's all of those things coming together that when we bring them together, it gives us a more bigger picture of insights and how people are behaving. And then for my purposes as a marketer, what will influence them to take advantage of an offer. The marvels of data-driven marketing, a symphony of precision. So as I shared, I started as a music major at Illinois Wesleyan. And although violin is not part of my everyday life, there's still so much to be learned from music and the arts. And the idea of how all these things come together. And in our culture today, every click, like, share, and scroll online is leaving a digital footprint for someone. And these breadcrumbs are collectively forming a treasure map of behavior and behavioral data, whether it's down to that person, down to that IP address, or our ability to make generalizations when we're marketing to a certain population. So again, marketers no longer have to guess about preferences. They can target their budget and easily measure performance based on behavioral preferences that they're trying to influence. And you can analyze that data and understand its audience's deepest desires. And it's the science is the superhero behind the curtain. We can uncover hidden patterns, spot trends, and connect dots. And then we can also predict what the consumer might want next, even before they realize it themselves. I remember working on a campaign for a product for baby formula. And in working on that product for baby formula, the nutraceutical company that we were working with was already wanting to weave into their toddler products, their teenage products, and what that would look like in a continuum of engagement, even though at the time they were just selling baby formula. And, you know, all of you that shop on Amazon, even what you're looking at, you've probably noticed retargeting ads coming to you when you're reading People magazine or on Reddit, of other ads being served up to you that you never even looked for, but when you think about it, are related to the products that you're looking for. I think a great example of that too is when you're shopping on Amazon. Amazon fashion is exploding. And when people are shopping for certain size, the internet's making judgments about you, and there's marketers behind the scenes. So if you're a woman buying XL clothing on Amazon, you're going to find yourself very quickly being served up ads about Weight Watchers or exercise programs. They're making assumptions about you based on your purchasing habits. That data is being sold to marketers that are like, okay, now where is this person shopping? Or, hey, they're buying XL clothes. So now maybe they're interested in this. Maybe they're interested in exercise equipment, all kinds of stuff. So everything that you do online is leaving impressions and a map for marketers to get into and decide how to use that data to get you to buy their next product. Another practical application. Sure.
If I could interrupt, we do have a question, and
Sure.
it's kind of about just the digital world and how you've talked about how we've gotten into a more digital setting. And the question is, in your opinion, is there a place for print media in this increasingly digital media landscape that is driven by real-time data?
Absolutely. And I will tell you, a lot of times for us, especially at Beeline with our business to business clients, if the whole world is going one way, sometimes it's good to go retro and have something else. An example that I just happen to have on my desk, we founded a publication. It's called Insider 94. And if you go to Insider 94, you'll see the companion piece to it. It's the idea that consultants know that they're not going to be picked because someone saw a digital ad. They want to be known for their thought leadership, but getting their thought leadership published beyond their own blog is a challenge. So we created a marketing piece that masquerades as a magazine that's sent to over 50,000 business owners, that lifts up consultants in wealth management, insurance services, marketing, print services, other things, to get thought leadership in front of them in an innovative way. You just, when it comes to print, you have to be smart about it, because print is still expensive. Mailing is expensive. So you have to weigh the pros and cons and how you're going to structure your marketing budget and what you have to fund what. So absolutely, print still has a place, but it is no longer the preferred method of placement for a lot of advertisers because of measurement. The great question, by the way. Some of the practical applications of data science, and this is a very simplistic example, but pretend that you own a pet store and your pet store is in Chicago, you're downtown, and you want to market things in that pet store, and you have an online shop as well as a brick and mortar shop. Data science could help us identify for that store and its location that perhaps dog lovers tend to prefer blue over red based on purchasing habits. The city location tends to trend to dogs under 20 pounds, so all those cute little Maltipoos. And people are most likely to shop in the evening hours. If you had just those 3 basic keys of knowledge, you could create tailor-made ads featuring blue dog accessories, accessories for small dogs, and strategically place them during prime evening hours, sorry, there's a typo, hours, to turn browsing into buying, whether that's online or in the store windows. Just with a little bit of data. They could also take their Facebook account and serve up purchasing ads between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. So now, rather than stretching your marketing budget over a 24-hour day, 7 days a week, perhaps you're only going to focus your social media paid sponsored ads in evenings and on weekends, so you stretch your dollar longer. I could go into so many examples of this, of just very easy, practical things that transform business to be more smart with their marketing budget. Another example of insight is legal firms. So we had a very prominent law firm that we represented that specialized in divorce. And with any company, you want to learn how to maximize their budget. And we were able to, with behavioral science tools, share with this legal firm that most of the search for divorce attorneys are happening after 5 p.m. and up until 1 o'clock in the morning. So perhaps these people are in troubled situations. They don't want to be searching for this online. They wait till their spouse goes to bed, and then they're on Google and inserting in Google their points of pain. And what are they looking up? Not only divorce law, quickie divorce, what are the things that in that? How am I going to forward this divorce? All types of blog articles. But we were able to give that legal firm all kinds of insights to maximize their spend, maximize their budget, where to place content that people are looking for, because it wasn't necessarily, hey, I want to read about this law firm. It was more background information before they made a choice on what firm that they were going to go to. So insight, very helpful into planning their strategy. Another one was, when companies have data or they've tried something and it doesn't work, their interpretation of data. So we also work with a company that had a wearable heart monitor, and that wearable heart monitor was designed to detect arrhythmia. And when we met with this firm, they said, you know what, we need a different marketing strategy because we've tried Google and it's not working for us. We've put all the keywords in there. We feel like we know what we're doing. And, our feedback to them was, okay, so Google works for the entire world, but it doesn't work for you. Okay. I need to see what you're doing behind the scenes. I need to see your data. So I looked at their data, and all of the words that they were going after was arrhythmia, arrhythmia this, arrhythmia that. I have arrhythmia. Do I have arrhythmia? All of these things. When we got into the data and then compared that to what Google was telling us that consumers were looking for, the issue came out loud and clear. It wasn't that arrhythmia wasn't important. It was that people didn't know how to spell arrhythmia, because arrhythmia's got 2 A's in it. It's a difficult word to spell. And they weren't typing in the Google point of pain bar, do I have arrhythmia? They're typing in, my heart is beating weird. And my heart is not regular. They typed in all sorts of words to get to information they wanted to get to, but arrhythmia wasn't one of them. And this company's whole campaign was centered around the word arrhythmia. So they had access to data. We all have access to data if you know how to use the tools to look into it. But the way that they were interpreting the insight was incorrect. So, data is a great thing, but if you don't read it correctly, or you get the wrong insights out of it, it could lead you in the wrong direction or be misled into what the conclusions could be. The other thing about data science and data-driven marketing is personalization is the crown jewel. You want to get down to that person's level, what they care about, who they are, what matters to them. And email is a very popular way to do that. And email, having it personalized and aggregated right down to their past purchases and recent searches is golden. If you think about the makeup industry, and as a woman, I wear foundation or use bronzer, and the companies all have algorithms of how long a bronzer will last. Well, if you know a bronzer might last a woman wearing it every day, 6 weeks, then start targeting them with a retargeting campaign 4 weeks after they bought it and start getting into the behavior. Have your emails generated to run to them when you know that they're going to be running on empty of the products that they're using. So, not only anticipating consumer behavior with external data sources and what that can tell you, but look at your own research and how your products and services are used and work that into your marketing plans so that can be worked into your strategies and how you reach out to customers. And also the idea that ads can be served when a seeker leaves your website and looks somewhere else. So many times we work with companies that have done do-it-yourself marketing, and they say, well, I'm doing retargeting ads. I serve that up, and they wonder why they're not getting a result. They failed to load their customer list into the Google platform or into LinkedIn to serve the retargeting ads up to the customers they already have to remind them that they exist. So, all of these tools are super important, and the internet does not forget your behavior. So knowing that, again, we get back to breadcrumbs and everything that you click, like, share is being recorded is marketing gold. So the role of data science in driving marketing success is to remember that it's not just an accessory to marketing, it is the engine. It drives the whole show. It should drive the whole show. There's a very, overused quote, but I still love it. It's in God we trust and everybody else needs to bring data. Data is going to be the key to effective marketing, getting the results you need, and maximizing a marketing budget. And by analyzing consumer behavior, identifying trends, understanding preferences, all of this is going to help the company make informed decisions about where to place their marketing bets. And it's not easy, though. Companies need to understand who they are and why they matter. I would say the most eye-opening thing that we do for any client, whether they've been in business 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, or 50 years, is telling them information about their consumer. In those of you who have been trained in marketing and are in college now or recently graduated, you've probably been trained in this idea of buyer personas. And buyer personas is a fictitious portrait of who your buyer is. So let's say the buyer persona is a portfolio manager at a private equity firm. What do they care about? Or I am in retail and I'm looking to influence a category manager. Who is a category manager? How old are they? What's their education level? What do they do in their job? How do they excel in their job? What are their obstacles in their job? Where do they go to look for information? If they're buying something, what are their objections? All of these things make up a persona. And if you really work on your persona and get agreement internally at a company of, yeah, that's what we've noticed when we're selling is this is our ideal client. If you hone in on that and say, this is who we're trying to target, then all of the behavioral science and data will feed into that. If you don't truly understand who your customer is, what makes them tick and what they care about, you won't know what data to grab. So oftentimes at Beeline, we work with companies that say, hey, I sell to this person, I sell to that person, but they've never sat down and done the mundane task of really just understanding who they are. and mapping that out, who they are, where they live, their demographics and psychographics, just like Annika, and she's studying psychology, which is an excellent companion to marketing. What makes them tick? And what are you selling? And what are the objections they have to what they're buying? And what might your messaging have to overcome? This is a fundamental thing that you need to do. So instead of fire, ready, aim, you aim, ready, fire in your marketing programs. And marketing is getting even more exciting. With the advent of artificial intelligence from an adoption rate is the fastest technology adoption rate and use in like the history of mankind. And it's transforming the way that we do business. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that about how that's changing how we work as a marketing agency. Then you have the metaverse. And, you know, I have faith that Mark Zuckerberg is going to figure this out because so many companies are gearing up for a few years from now, this really being a very important part of how they go to market. Connected TV, the idea of streaming and everywhere is making it more exciting, and the proliferation of content and how you integrate with that. And 5G, meaning the enabler to all of that. You know, we all are using connected devices. And any of you who have been on a Zoom call and had your Zoom call freeze, wish that you had a high-speed connection, and 5G provides that. And the idea of Internet of Things and how everything is a connected device. AI, as I shared, is one of those technologies that has made the most progress this year and is already changing the way marketing companies work. The speed of delivery and intelligence gathering, the creative process and delivering of that, warp speed. One of the things that I had shared with John and Annika prior to this call starting is in Beeline's history, we've almost been around for 20 years. About 12 years ago, I had 50 full-time employees. We had software engineers, data analysts, a host of graphic designers and copywriters, every discipline that you can imagine. I am doing more than that volume of work with 12 employees now. And when I'm adding employees, I don't think to myself, wow, I need more copywriters, because we can use a lot of AI to get copy 70% there. And our analysts with buyer personas and understanding behavioral science can get the copy where it needs to go without worrying about having copywriters spend all of the time and energy with the foundational copy. We can get there quicker. And that's a game changer. When you think and you see in the news of what's happening with SAG-AFTRA and creatives and actors concerned about how their image and likeness is being used, and writers for shows being concerned about their jobs, I'm concerned about their jobs. You know, if you've played with ChatGPT, you know, even in its form right now, how crazy good it can be. It's not a replacement right now for humans. It's not a complete replacement for the value of having good writers on staff, but it certainly accelerates things to levels that are just mind-blowing. So, you know, even as a mom of 4, when I talk to my kids about what they're studying in school, I'm very keen to tell them that they need to be good problem solvers. They need to be idea generators. So, you know, when I think about what Illinois Wesleyan's doing with the Petrick Idea Center, that will always be relevant. But to pigeonhole yourself and say, I'm just a copywriter, I'm just a graphic designer, my advice is you need to be more of a generalist and understand how all those disciplines work to solve problems and position yourself well for all of these tools that are coming. The metaverse, even though it's not a reality in our daily lives, has grown exponentially. And I'm sure all of us looking back at the pandemic, I know that the way that we've worked, even post-pandemic, customers are much more likely to want to get on a video call than they are for me to visit them in person. And even the clients we're working with, a small percentage of my clients are based in Illinois and in the Midwest. They're all over the place. They're all over the country. And people are getting very comfortable with the idea that you can work from anywhere. So the metaverse, although it's still very much in its infancy of a day-to-day tool, it too will exponentially grow. And marketers are going to want to know how they participate in that. Connected TV, smart TVs that can connect to the internet have also increased in trends. And it's very attractive for technology companies, not only to create applications to be used on these TVs, but an investment opportunity to reach them with advertising. Can't overstate the importance of that. And 5G, the higher the connection, the more digital transformation and enablement is possible. Whether you're connecting devices in a manufacturing plant to talk to each other and to generate data, whether you're just depending on it for a Wi-Fi connection, all of these things, 5G is going to make that possible. And Internet of Things, it's a branch of technology that's connecting everything. And those of you with Alexa devices or Google Home are examples of how those devices are connected to each other. Beeline has a client that I encourage everybody to check out from a safety perspective, but also what's coming. The company is called Denova Detect, D-E-N-O-V-A Detect. Denova Detect is a natural gas alarm that was developed by a company in Japan called New Cosmos. And in Japan, they do not have natural gas explosions like we hear about in the United States, and has been just so devastating in recent weeks in the news of homes exploding because of a natural gas leak. In the US, when we have a natural gas leak, we know it because we smell rotten egg, and that's our cue to call the fire department. In Japan, much like smoke detectors, they have natural gas detectors that alert you verbally, hey, there's a natural gas leak, and give you time to get out before there's an explosion. Denova Detect just launched in the US, and they have a product coming out in October or November of this year that will live in your house, but also serve as like a mesh Wi-Fi. So your Ring, your Alexa, your smoke detectors, all of them work together. And because when there's a natural gas explosion, rings can talk to each other. And if you've got a gas leak in your house, through this mesh network, it can tell your devices down the street and your neighbors that you have a gas leak, and they can escape. That is the Internet of Things at its finest, and how everything's going to work with connected home, connected car, connected office. It's just going to be more of more. And having that and being able to market new products that come and that, people are inventing, it's going to just become more and more relevant. So Internet of Things is just going to continue to explode the way that we, behave in society. The impact of technology on marketing and marketing careers, again, if I'm giving advice to those that are seeking a career or even looking to augment their business with better marketing programs, understand how all the parts making up the whole is critical. How do all of the pieces of who you need to reach, how you need to reach them, what are all of the possibilities, and how do you look at your marketing budget in a way that takes advantage of the best of all of it, where you can measure things in real time, pivot when you need to pivot to just get the biggest bang for your marketing buck. And, generating great ideas with understanding of technology and AI as an accelerator is really going to be the key to success when it comes to data-driven marketing and the power of data science. So thank you. And with that, I will open it up to questions.
Stacey, I've got one for you, if I may. You've given lots of great advice for students and professionals, everyone really, and lots of great information for them to think about and how they can, prepare themselves, as everyone, marketing is such an important tool to the success of any venture. What additional advice specifically for college students, as there is so much there to take into consideration, as you talked about, from marketing to data science and computer science and the things that are happening? What advice are you giving to your own kids, whether they're in college or after college or currently in high school?
Right. My biggest advice too is be cross-disciplinary, right? Just as Annika, she's in the business school, she's studying marketing, she's got psychology on there. All of those disciplines work together. If my kids were telling me that they were learning how to do a certain coding language, I would be concerned about that. I think being very very liberal arts focused and, take something from everything, learn a lot about a lot of things, I think is important. I think, one of the other questions that I often get when I talk about data science is, well, how do you use data science tools? Like, what tool do you use? And the thing that I say about that is the tools are changing daily. So you don't need to worry about, hey, I don't know how to manipulate 10,000 lines in Excel. You don't need to worry about that. There are software as a service companies popping up daily, giving you very easy to use user interfaces to access data, manipulate data, and synthesize the insights for you. So again, I think just being very broad in focus, focusing on problem-solving skills, being a well-read, well-versed person in many disciplines is important because the landscape of education is going to be shifting too. Be a good writer, be a good communicator. All of those are going to continue to be good skills on how do you express yourself and express your ideas, right? It's great to have an idea, but understanding how to express that and influence others to your way of thinking is super important.
Thank you. Great advice.
All right, we do have a couple of questions from the Q&A, and the first one is there any industry where data-driven marketing doesn't work as well as it may in other industries?
No, I can't think of one. And I say that with the knowledge of we represent clients from every single kind of thing that you can imagine. Consumer projects, B2B, there is always data out there for something, always. So, and if it's not a data or if it's a new thing that you're creating a category that didn't exist, you still have to figure out who's going to consume that product or buy it, and there's data on them. And then also, Annika, I got a chat, and one of the questions was, if I said in the beginning, what made you decide to go into marketing after graduating with a music major? Although it interested you, what made you decide to actually go through making that my career? I loved music, and I had a father who really was encouraging me to study something that I loved and said the business stuff would take care of itself because I grew up in a family that had business. Strangely enough, though, my parents owned employment agencies, and they at the time really poo-pooed anyone who said that they were a marketing or communications major. They're like, oh, that's a fluff degree. And it was just, their ignorance at the time of what marketing really was. And, at their time, they were hoping with my music major that I would become a teacher and graduate with a certificate that said I could do something. So I did do that, but I never taught music. But what interested in me in marketing is just the idea of growth, and you're doing something different all the time. And when I graduated, I was like, it was a recession at the time. It wasn't a good job market in 1992. And I really wanted to be a part of something that was cool. And because cell phones were coming up and that was really a cool thing to do, I walked into United States Cellular corporate office and said, hey, I have skills. I can do all of these things. Do you need anybody? And I created a resume, got myself in front of the director of HR, and she saw my bright-eyed, bushy-tailed enthusiasm and invited me to be part of the training department. And while I was in with the training department, I was responsible for marketing training to all of their employees. And so that was really my first marketing initiative. And as I was doing that, I used software as a service to take all of their training and automate it for the company nationwide. And I just started inviting myself to marketing meetings as an observer, and people in the company noticed that that was something that interested me, and they gave me an opportunity. So that's how all that started. And it's been fun ever since.
All right, we have one more, and that is in the same vein of things like 5G and the Metaverse. Are there any other new forms of technology that you're excited about that will drastically shift how we interact with each other and marketing?
I think what I'm most excited about is the next social media it thing. TikTok is a really big medium, but a lot of advertisers that we work with are scared of TikTok because of what they're hearing on the news, worrying about data and all the things that we're hearing about the news and in congressional hearings. So there's going to be something new. I'm interested to see what happens to Twitter. And if, Threads turns out to be a good fighter brand to that, a lot of companies are like, well, should we leave Twitter? Should we go to Threads? What should we do? We like TikTok. Should we do that? There's going to be something else new. And I'm excited to see what the new evolution of new is.
Awesome. There is one more in the chat, and that is, what
Okay.
tips and or advice would you give to someone who has been out of school for a while and is interested in changing career paths into marketing as an adult in their 30s?
I would say read about the tools, get familiar with the tools that marketers are using now. And if you're in a career, like let's say you're at a company, you don't have a marketing role, start based on your knowledge of the company, start learning about the tools and marry your knowledge of what the company's doing to what you see them not doing in marketing, and see if you can offer yourself up as a side project to help them with those things. I have never in my life run into an employer that didn't love employees taking initiative. And no matter where you're at right now, there's always something left undone when it comes to marketing. And if you can figure out what that is and use that as a playground and a sandbox for helping out your own employer, you'll get a taste of how tools work if you enjoy doing that kind of work, and perhaps get yourself in a new career while you're with the same company.
We do have another question, and that is, what is your go-to resource for the most up-to-date tech media that affects work projects?
My go-to resource. I would probably say BuzzFeed the most, but I tend to start my day every day reading things from all over the place. I like to, simply Google search, what's the latest in technology? What's the latest with this? What's the latest with that? Tell me the best that this or the other. A lot of times though, when I'm trying to solve a marketing challenge for a client and we're creating their marketing strategy, we start a little bit from scratch and understanding the landscape of their products and what's new. And we end up discovering new ways of doing things as a result of discovery for that client. And then we take that and we're like, okay, how can we apply this to others? So we're constantly in learning mode, and not taking the same playbook we've had for one client and applying it unilaterally across, but just discovering new ways of doing things. Okay, another one. Given that data drives insights, what do you anticipate the effect of stricter privacy laws will be on the landscape? Yeah, privacy laws are still lagging way, way behind. And I think that this whole debate on the speed that artificial intelligence is taking over, artificial intelligence has access to all this data without the privacy on there. It is a very, very scary landscape. I try honestly not to think about how scary it is and just use the tools and stay focused on what I need to do, because I personally am not in a position to influence that. But I take a look at it and it concerns me. I will say that clients are very concerned about protecting their customers' data and making sure their customers know how they're using their data and how they're not using their data. So, privacy laws and making sure customers are doing the right thing by their customers, letting them know how they're using the data. But I think that how that affects the landscape of AI is yet to come.
Awesome. That is all the questions I have on my end at the moment.
Great. Well, John, I appreciate the time and, the opportunity to talk to folks about this topic, and my contact information is available. So if anyone wants to reach out directly and have coffee or conversation, I'm, more than open to that.
Stacey, we really want to thank you for preparing and delivering this great talk. I mean, this has opened up, I think, a lot of students and established professionals in our general audience, opened up their eyes. Some of the things they may have heard about, but seeing in that context that you've you've put together a nice symphony of things for us to learn from. We're lucky to have you as an alumna and as an engaged alumna as you've been. We really appreciate your assistance and helping to serve as a judge and a mentor, and to our students and even high school students that are showing interest in Illinois Wesleyan. Thank you very much. To our audience, I want to thank you for attending and asking such great questions. And Annika, thank you for being our moderator of those questions. You did a really nice job, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors in the marketing world. And we're thankful that you're still here with us this semester, and good luck in your job search.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everyone for tuning in. We hope to see you in our next Titan Talks. We'll have one again every month. Our next one in the innovation series will take place in November. So take care and go Titans.